All right, so once again, thanks for joining Office Hours today. We do have a guest speaker with us today. We have Meredith Wilson on the call from Pyxis, and she is going to talk about proposals and abstracts and has some slides to share and answer any questions you guys have. So I'm going to toss it over to her. And then if you have questions while she's presenting, feel free to plug them into the chat. We'll answer them at the end. And then, as always, we'll have time at the end after that to just take on general questions about the workbench and about the program too as well. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and hand it over.
Thanks, Gage. Hi, everyone. I'm Meredith. I'm from Pyxis Partners, one of the engagement awardees for the All of Us Research Program. And today I just kind of wanted to walk through the Researchers Convention opportunity we have. So let me share my screen. Can you all see my screen okay?
Yes.
All right. So for the All of Us Researchers Convention, we are having our call for proposals for those that are in the All of Us workbench. And so what is the All of Us Researchers Convention? The convention provides an opportunity for researchers using the All of Us Research Program dataset and tools to showcase their work. And this event is a virtual convention that will be held March 29th through the 31st of next year. So last year, or I guess technically this past March 2022, we had our first researchers convention. We had about 930 total registered attendees. And for the presentations from researchers who were using the All of Us workbench, we had 4 different sessions with 3 researchers presenting in each session. The topics we happened to end up covering in March were the COVID-19 and mental health, exploring medication adherence, enabling disease-specific research, and examining health disparities. For the upcoming Researchers Convention, our theme this year is going to focus on our communities, our research, and our stories. Again, it's expanding from a 2 to a 3-day event. We'll have selected abstracts, and those selected abstracts will be able to, those researchers will be able to present the research at the workbench, or on their research on the workbench at the convention, excuse me. And some other components that will be occurring during the convention. We'll also have some scholar presentations from our research scholar cohort and others also using the data set. And we'll also have a few keynote sessions, plenary sessions, and some networking opportunities. So what will be of interest to those of you who are using the workbench is we do have this call for proposals for you all to submit an abstract. And I kind of want to walk through what that process will look like for you all. So currently the eligibility is for anyone registered and who has an active workspace and incorporates the All of Us data in their research project. It can be, you can submit your abstract on any topic. And it's also, your research doesn't need to be complete. You can be in progress research and can kind of provide an update on where you are in your research and where you're looking to go. So your research does not need to be complete. So we do have the submission portal online. It kind of covers 3 sections. So just kind of general contact information, a place for you to tell us about your research project, an abstract, and we also have a community impact question. The submission deadline for this is January 20th at 11:59 p.m. So some of the review criteria for these submissions will kind of focus around, does your research demonstrate the value of the program? Kind of exhibit scientific merit, objectives, methods and approaches, the hypothesis, results or anticipated findings. Does it connect to the program's vision, goals, and core values? And does it indicate value to program participants, the research community, and or advances precision medicine? Here's just a general timeline of where things are. So we opened the call for proposals in early November. Next week on December 14th, we'll be hosting an informational webinar. Submission portal closes on the 20th. Our advisory committee, who is going to review the proposals, will take some time to do so. And then we will notify researchers of the selection. Once selected researchers are notified, they'll then be reached out to set up prep calls, and then they will then present at the convention. So every applicant will receive an email notification of their status. If you are selected, we look to select about 12 researchers to present on a panel. Each session will last about an hour. It'll be interactive. what we're going to continue doing, what we did last year, was it'll be moderated by one of the All of Us participant ambassadors. And new this year is going to be an All of Us Community Award, which I'll touch on in just a minute. So this All of Us Community Award is going to be kind of based off your abstract, as well as that community impact question that we now have in the application. And so the purpose of this award is to recognize the researcher or research team whose abstract most clearly articulates the potential impact of their research on the All of Us participants and researcher communities. The winner of this award will be presented. It'll be presented during the convention during a plenary session, and the winner will also have the opportunity to be featured in one of the Research Hub Spotlight series and in the All of Us Research Roundup newsletter. So we've also pulled together some additional resources for you all when you are submitting your proposal, just to help you as you go through it. So the submission portal is through via JotForm. We have created a guidelines for submission document, as well as some frequently asked questions and the abstract support resources. So if we say there's a researcher who hasn't really submitted an abstract for a convention or conference before, we do provide a resource that is available to you all just to kind of help guide you along. Again, as I mentioned earlier, we do have another informational webinar next Wednesday. So whether you or anyone else you might know who would be interested in learning more about kind of this call for proposal opportunity to present, we are having an additional time to do so next Wednesday. And with that, just next steps, kind of reminder, if you have the submission deadline is January 20th. And if you happen to have any other questions that I can't answer today, or as you start going through the application process, please feel free to send me an email. So are there any questions? Anything else anything I could answer maybe? I don't know if there's anything in the chat or not.
I don't see anything in the chat yet. But definitely, if there's any questions out there, please feel free to plug them into the chat or unmute, and we will try to get those.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
So for this submission, what's the page limit? Do you have any requirement?
Yeah, so for the abstract, it's the abstract piece. We want it to be more of a structured abstract, and the limit is 500 words. And then for the community impact question, it's a 200-word limit. And those distinctions are noted in the submission guidelines document, as well as in the submission portal.
Oh, it is in the submission guideline, right? Okay.
Yep.
Another question. So this, I have two students who are working on All of Us. It's okay for the student to submit, right? For the submit.
Yeah, absolutely. Students are allowed to submit. We had a graduate student last year who presented during one of the panel sessions. So yes, all researchers are welcome. If they've been working on the research team that's doing the research in the workbench, that's absolutely welcome for them to submit. And then I see the question in the chat. So the session next week is relatively similar to this one. We'll also be providing a general overview of the All of Us program as well then. But most of the slides, yes, that I used today will also be used next week.
I did have a question. So if you didn't submit a proposal or are presenting or anything, is there ability for people just to come and hear these presentations virtually?
Yeah, absolutely. So the registration page for the All of Us Researchers Convention should be going live sometime in January. And so we'll be sure to share with the DRC team and others to make sure we get that information out to you all. So even if you aren't submitting a proposal, or if you are, but still want to come and attend the convention, even if you aren't selected to present, we do welcome all of you to attend. So it's 3 days. We'll have multiple different sessions and presenters. So more information to come on how to register for that next month.
Great, thanks. And yes, we'll definitely do our part on distributing that too as well. Oh, I see another question in the chat.
So for this specific call for proposals, it is going to just be for those that are in the researcher workbench. There will be presentations from our research scholar program winners, who some of them are doing research in the data browser, as well as some other people who might be using the data browser.
And I think they added to that question, does it matter if it's registered or controlled tier?
If you have a workspace in the workbench, whether it's registered or controlled, it doesn't matter.
And then adding on to that a little bit too. So you did mention that project doesn't need to be complete to submit the proposal. But will it need to be complete by the time if you are selected to present, or can it still be an ongoing project with a presentation?
It can still be an ongoing project. I'm trying to remember if we had any ongoing projects last year. I want to say yes, maybe one or two. So it doesn't need to be complete by time of presentation. We do note that you have to follow, all of the publication and presentation policy that the program provides. And that is also provided in the form and the submission guidelines.
I think in the chat says, is there access/abstracts of last convention available?
I can figure that out for you if that's something we want to provide, and that might be something where one of our presenters who was selected last year might be willing to submit, but we can follow up and provide that information. I have to circle back with the team, but that's a good question.
Great, thanks. Yeah.
Where is the guideline? Is that
Sure. Let me drop the link to all of that for you. So I just dropped in the chat the link to the submission form, which also links to all of those support materials, but I'll also go ahead and drop in the guidelines for submission. And I'll also put my email in the chat. So if you do happen to have any questions as you're going through the form, please feel free to send me an email.
And then I think Chinchal made another good point is from last year's or even more previous conventions, are they recorded and posted anywhere just so people who are wanting to submit now can kind of get a glimpse of how it works and, like you said, pointers?
Sure. So again, this past March was the first convention, at least for the All of Us Researchers convention, and I can definitely go and pull probably one of the recordings that we have.
Perfect. Do we have any other questions out there?
I would just add that if you ever lose the links that Meredith just provided, there's also an article on the User Support Hub that outlines all the materials that Meredith just provided as well. It's in our general announcements.
Yes, thanks for adding that, Raquel. Well, I know. Oh yeah, go ahead.
So in case if we have two proposal, is that okay, or there are any limits? The number of proposals that they can submit.
Yeah, great question. So if the way I think we do it is if it's on the same research, essentially like topic, how to best put this as a non-researcher, I guess, in my mind, is if it's like one workspace that you're using for one research project, that's one proposal. But if you have, say, multiple workspaces for multiple different projects, you can submit multiple ones, if that makes sense.
Yes, okay, I got it now. Thank you.
Well, great. I know we did fire a handful of questions at you, so thanks for tackling all those. Do we have any further ones? Anything in the chat, or anybody want to come off mute?
I guess I have one more question.
Yeah.
I have two students who working with me on this data side, but the students sometimes have question. I don't see your training session most recently. I don't see that you have training session, right? Wonder when I'm going to have some other training session, or maybe if we have any question, is that okay if we email you about using the workbench, some kind of question?
I think you cut out for me on like part of your question. Can you please just repeat it? I'm so sorry.
Oh, wait, I have two students working with me now, but they may have some question on using the workbench. I don't see you have a training session most recently. Are you going to have the training session again?
Are you saying that you wanted to do the training session again?
Yeah, when they
For your
build the
student?
data. When my student builds data, they have some questions, they have some problem. Is that okay if I email you in case we have question on working using the workbench?
Yeah, no, okay. I think I understand your question. So if you're talking about like this training we went through today, they'll have another session on Wednesday, and I'm sure Meredith can share the link if your students want to attend that. But if you're talking about just training in general for the workbench,
Right.
then yeah, you can reach out to our support team, support@researchallofus.org, and then we can find a way to get those trainings out again.
Okay. Thank you.
And yeah, Chris just plugged into the chat that email I just said. So any questions general about the workbench, feel free to put those there.
Could it be possible to have an office hour that we can ask questions about working with data?
Yeah, of course. So we actually have Tuesday drop-in office hours, which are exactly that. So I think our next one is this upcoming Tuesday. Yep, the 13th. It's the same time from 1 to 2 p.m. Central Time. And those are specifically made for researchers to just join and ask any questions they have.
Do we need registration for that?
So if you are a registered researcher, you will be getting an email shortly with that on how to register. So those are structured just for current registered researchers because we encourage people to share their screens. And so we have to make sure that everybody who is in attendance complies with the registered researcher agreements in order to see row level data if it comes up.
Right. Thank you.
Of course. And yes, Sam, thanks for driving that point across too. We also do have a banner up in the workbench talking about the researchers convention. All right. If we don't have any more questions specific to Meredith, thank you again for tackling those. I know we fired a lot at you, and we can use some of this remaining time if there's just general questions about the program. We'll be happy to answer those. And these can be just, questions about the program or the workbench, really anything. We're happy to, or we're here to help.
Oh, and like Chris mentioned, if you for some reason aren't getting the emails, it might be that you somehow got on the unsubscribe list by clicking on it accidentally. So if you let our user support hub team know, we will add you back to the regular list to receive office hours emails.